So what we're going to do first this evening is we're going to look at the new invention called the HeartTuner. So what you're about to see is a new version of an invention that I've been working on for many years. It used to be called the HeartLink. Information about this is available, and it is commercially available. The info is at heartcoherence.com. So what we're looking at is the output display of a device that will take the harmonic analysis and measure the coherence in a new way for two people's hearts, or brain waves, or your favorite plant or tree, or electrosmog. It's quite a powerful little gizmo. It sells for roughly about $1,000 US. It's a simple battery-powered, opto-isolated, UL-approved, fancy little 2-channel programmable preamplifier that dumps via your USB or serial port into the PC. The radically new part of this invention is the measurement of coherence, as coherence has never been measured before. And as we'll see in the implosion PowerPoint that we're going to display just after this, that the ability to cohere the vacuum, the ability to make coherence, to suck the vacuum into you, is how you make matter out of light. Speaking of light. So how to cohere and see, coherence. Coherence is the difference between a flashlight and a laser. So we're teaching little children how to let their hearts shine. Turn on your heart lights wherever you go. Come on, baby, light my fire, and all that stuff. So this is about how you light your inner fire. Wasn't that the logo of this year's Olympics, do you remember? Light your own fire? Well, that's the theme of this evening, is what is the electrical geometry of inner fire, and how do you light your own inner fire yourself? So let me just review what we're seeing on the screen. We have two wonderful volunteers who have offered to share their hearts with us. So nice of you. No secrets, right? No secrets. So we have Zen in red on the screen, and we have Julia in black. Yeah? And, oh, Julia likes that. She said her name. She was right there. That was very cool. Okay. So I always manage to pick the most wonderful people, it seems. You can always tell. Golden mean ratio, very pretty. So let me just describe what we're seeing here. We're seeing the raw ECG or EKG, the electrocardiogram. We measure it very simply. It's so easy. You just slide these little wrist electrodes under your wrist here. It's very simple. So there's no stickiness. It's just a very simple procedure. You see, when Zen moved his wrist, we got a little bit of noise there, see? And the auto scaling will now take just a minute to take that out of there. So we display the raw data, heart waves, brain waves, plant waves, tree waves, electrosmog waves, whatever we want. And then we display the conventional power spectra harmonic analysis. So this is the same way, for example, you do a waterfall harmonic analysis of your brain waves. And we're doing it in the same radio station, alpha, theta, delta, in which brain waves are usually analyzed. So this is very conventional here. It's just state of the art for display. What's new and interesting is over here. So in the conventional display here, we display the harmonics present in the heart from 0 to 20 cycles per second. We can actually take that and we can display that in logarithmic display or full screen display. If I hit linear versus log there, I can display the high frequency content of the heart, or I can pan and zoom, or I take just a portion of that display. And I can also double click to see the full screen so that I could look, for example, as in signature sound works and bioacoustic habitat theory, where I look for what is the missing harmonic here in red for Zen, missing harmonic right here around 6 cycles per second. Frequently that indicates excess exposure to 50 or 60 cycles noise, so your heart can't make that. That was a big peep there from Julia. So you get the idea that in this, there she is. Look at that heart. Julia's got a wonderful heart. Nice lady, I tell you. Nice lady. Okay. Now, so that was this display. We're looking at the harmonic analysis. Notice the coherence peak went up when she did that. Here, yes? So what we're doing here, for anyone who has any mathematical interest, is I take the power spectra, which is a form of the fast Fourier transform, harmonic analysis, and I do a second order FFT, a second order power spectra. And if you're not interested in math, don't worry about it. But if you are, the rigor and elegance here is that this is a new way of measuring internal or auto-coherence. Because previously, in physics, we could only talk about a coherence when you compared one signal with another. With my new mathematics here, which I've pioneered, I can measure the internal coherence with only one signal. It's called auto-coherence. And that enables me to do things like tell when your DNA is losing its soul because of your local genetic engineer. Believe it or not, it has to do with the fact that the coherence of any oscillator is a measure of its ability to self-organize and have a field effect that's sustainable. So the fact that your local genetic engineer does not understand that the field effect in your DNA is whether your kids are immortal, I mean have a soul, is now measurable by coherence analysis. So this is a very powerful, radical, new way to measure coherence. So how do we explain this to the little kids in the 3rd grade in Los Angeles inner city schools, as we did recently? Well, the amplitude of this first or primary peak of the second order power spectra, which we call a coherence measure, the amplitude is the measure of coherence. So that when that peak goes up, your heart says yes, just like Julia just did. Okay? And so in effect, what we're finding is that that is a lie detector, believe it or not. It replaces kinesiology in the sense that it makes kinesiology measurable. Because indeed, we've done this at kinesiology colleges now. When this peak goes up, it's a biological yes from your body. And the physics is very simple. When your heart coheres, in effect, it has found a shareable wave. So literally, your heart doesn't become coherent unless it's found a wave that's distributable. So when this peak goes up, it's literally a measure of pure intent. And in fact, the heart doesn't lie. You can absolutely tell when the body says yes or no. You can also use this to have a conversation with someone who may be paraplegic and can't move anything. You whisper in their ear. When the peak goes up, it's a yes. When it's down, it's a no. It's quite beautiful. So that's the first thing we teach with this device is simple. Raise the peak. As you do, you become coherent. So when the teacher says, "Little Johnny, you go to the corner until you're coherent." Yes? Well, then the teacher looks over here and says, "Oh, Julia, you're coherent now. You can come back to class." Do you see? So coherent emotion is measurable and teachable. When your Sufi dance teacher says, "Hold the feeling like you would a little child," in effect, now you know exactly what it is to hold a feeling. When you look at someone you love, that peak goes up. So again, first thing we teach is simply the ability to be coherent. The second thing we teach with this device is that the position of this peak up and down the scale, the position is a measure of the musical key signature of your heart.